The day they told me I wasn't allowed to move into my own father's house. Something inside me went still, like the quiet a barn holds right before a storm rips. The roof off. I'd spent the morning loading the old Ford with boxes my wife, Laura, labeled in neat black marker. Dad's tools, photographs, kitchen, keepsakes, the bed rail squeaked as I pulled up to the white clapboard on Willow Bend blue shutters, a porch swing that carried more county gossip than the diner on Highway 9. My father's folded flag sat beside me on the bench seat. I planned to raise it at sundown and drink coffee on the steps, the way he ended every day, quiet, steady, grateful. Boots on gravel, the click of heels. Karen Banks sprayed stiff. HOA lanyard swinging like a pendulum marched down the sidewalk with her phone held like a citation book. 2 board members flanked her. Eyes narrowed like I was a stray dog in the wrong yard. "You can't move in," she snapped. "Not hello. Not sorry for your loss? This home is flagged as non-compliant for residency transfer. We were not notified." I notified the county. I notarized the deed. "I'm his son," I said, nodding toward the oak, where Dad hung Christmas lights every year since '79. "This is my house now." She smirked. "No one lives here without an approved occupancy request and a compliance inspection. That porch swing is unapproved. And that gravel?" She tapped her phone like she was tallying sins. "That gravel is not HOA standard. If you step across that threshold, you're trespassing." Something in my chest tightened, then settled. I'd seen men show off on the oil field, teenagers flex at the county fair. This was different. Someone trying to rewrite the story of my own name. Laura whispered, "Breathe. Tom." She knows the switch in me I try not to touch. I set the first box photographs on the tailgate. No stranger was going to decide where my father's wedding picture slept. Karen planted herself at the bottom step. "Sir, I am instructing you to stop. I'm telling you," I said, calm as Cedar Creek in October. "I'm carrying these memories through that door." She thumbed her phone. "Yes, we have an unauthorized moving. Possible squatter. I'm requesting police response." She cut me a sideways glance. "I'm calling 911. My back teeth hummed. I pictured Dad's scarred knuckles folding that flag one last time. Mom's cinnamon roll recipe cards. Everything this house had held standing outside in the cold, turned away by a woman who never raked these leaves, never steadied a toddler on these floorboards, never watched summer lightning stitch silver over this porch. "Let them come," I said. "Sirens mean different things depending on your heart. To some, rescue. To others, trouble." That day, they sounded like a bell calling the town to witness. Neighbors drifted out, pretending to check mail. Water petunias that didn't need it. Old Mr. Hughes leaned on his cane. "That's Joe's boy," he told anyone who'd listen. "Learned to ride a bike on that sidewalk. Skinned both knees. Didn't cry." "Please return all items to your vehicle and vacate the premises," Karen ordered. I carried the box up the steps. She lifted a polished hand, never touched me, but the porch boards groaned, the same old welcome under my boots. The front door gave that familiar soft catch. Like the house still recognized the way my hand turned the knob. Inside smelled faintly of pine sol and sawdust. I set the photographs on the maple hallway table Dad built from leftovers. Sunlight laid long rectangles across the floor, just like when I was 9 and snuck in muddy from fishing. Quiet tugged at me, the kind that isn't empty but full, like a church pew before the hymn. 2 sheriff's units rolled up. The older deputy broad kinda tipped his hat. "Afternoon." "Name," I told him. His face softened. "Your dad was Joe." "Sorry for your loss," Deputy Karen cut in, voice turned up to righteous. "He's trespassing. We have rules. We weren't notified. He's going to raise a flag without a permit." The deputy raised a palm. "Ma'am, we decide what's relevant on a 911 call." He turned to me. "Paperwork, son?" I handed him the deed. Real ink, real signatures, the county stamp, catching the sun. He looked past me into the house like a man peeking into the past. Want to see the swing too? I asked because a little humor keeps you from falling off a cliff. Maybe later, faced Karen. He owns the home. He can move in. If there's an HOA issue, it's civil, not criminal. This isn't a police matter. Wind moved through the neighbors, someone clapped, startling a bird out of the maple wings. Relief, Karen's mouth tightened. We'll be issuing fines. You do what you need to do, I told her. I'll do what my father asked me, take care of his home. After sundown, I unfolded the flag. The fabric slid like water through my hands, caught in an attic, in something that belonged to my father alone. When I raised it, the metal clips chimed against the pole, and I heard his old line after a hard job. Do it right, do it once. Don't let anyone talk you out of it. Boxes stacked like towers. Laura, asleep on a mattress. I sat on the steps with coffee. Somewhere, a dog barked twice and thought better of it. Anger loosened. The house had a spine. So did I. Streetlights bloomed like little moons along Willow Bend. In the creak of the swing, I heard Dad, steady, son. Plant your feet and stand. By sunrise, I had a plan. Stay calm, stay legal, stay. That's how you win in a small town. You don't scream, you outlast. I brewed coffee strong enough to float a horseshoe and spread. Documents across the kitchen table, deed, will, transfer papers, tax receipts. Laura slid toast my way and squeezed my shoulder. You okay? I'm fine, I lied. Pride's a stubborn animal. But I want the county attorney on the phone before noon. Word travels fast where everybody knows who owns a ladder. By 9, 2 neighbors had dropped by. Mrs. Alvarez brought a cinnamon sheet cake with welcome home traced in pecans. Don't you let them scare you, Tom. Your daddy changed my tire in the rain once. I don't forget. At 9:30, Mr. Hughes shuffled up with a folded newspaper. The piece from when your dad retired from the mill. He tapped the header. Honest as the day is long. That ought to count. It did, maybe not in court, but in courage. At 10, I drove to the county building with the square clock that's always a minute behind. The clerk, Janine, has known me since Little League. I heard, she said, peering over reader glasses. I laid out the papers. She nodded page by page like a metronome. You did it right, she said. Recorded properly. As far as the county's concerned, your owner and fee simple. She eyed me. An HOA doesn't gatekeep grief. Not asking to grieve, I told her. I'm moving into my father's house. She smiled. I'll print certified copies. Outside, flags popped against a blue sky. I drove home, windows down, radio low-fit store, water tower. The Methodist church that held casseroles, tears, and old hymns on Dad's day. Every landmark felt like a witness for the defense. Willow Bend had grown a circus. A folding table at the curb with a welcome committee banner. Clipboards. Tape measure. Camera on a tripod. Karen presided, lips thin as wire. A man I didn't know stepped into the road, palm up like a crossing guard. Rick, he said. HOA president. We'll be conducting an exterior inspection. I killed the engine. Let the quiet make the point. You're not setting foot on my property. Our bylaws allow reasonable access, he said, smile tight. Your bylaws aren't a warrant, I said. You want to look at something, get a court order. Step past the mailbox, and it's trespassing. Karen slid behind the camera. We can document from the sidewalk. Violations. Non-conforming gravel, porch swing, flagpole height, unauthorized occupancy without our questionnaire. She glanced at my driveway, and that truck is an eyesore. I thought of Dad's hand steadying mine on a wrench. Easy, feel it, don't force it. Take all the pictures you want, I told them. You don't get to decide who lives here. The county already did. Rick's jaw worked. We can levy fines up to $500 a day. It's in the covenants. You think I'm scared of paper? I held up Janine's raised seal. Here's mine. Neighbors edged closer. People get braver when they're tired of being pushed. Mrs. Alvarez crossed her arms. Rick, y'all been harassing folks since you got in? Karen measured my grandson's bicycle flag with a ruler. We didn't elect you to chase people out. We elected you to keep the pool clean, Mr. Hughes chuckled. You tried to find me for warm white Christmas lights. That's not a standard, son. That's a preference. The sedan eased up. A woman in a navy dress stepped out, a leather folder in hand. Mr. Dawson? She asked. Yes. Rachel Collins. County attorney? Janine called me. She nodded at the table. May I? This is private association business, Rick puffed. Then stop involving public resources, she said, calm as a gavel. You called 911 yesterday. Set up a road obstruction today. If it's civil, keep it civil. Make it criminal, we're back. She turned to me. You have clear title. Probate clean. No encumbrances blocking occupancy. You can move in. I knew it, but hearing it in that tone landed like rain after drought. As for the HOA, she continued, your covenants are valid within your lane. They cannot restrict occupancy transfers beyond state law. If they interfere with quiet enjoyment harassment, trespass, intimidation, document it. My office will review, Rick swallowed. We're just protecting property values. Property values drop when good people get run off, Rachel said. Ask a realtor. She tucked a card into my palm. My grandfather used to say, don't let a bully write the rules for your life. Keep living. If they cross a line, call me. The welcome committee folded like a party that ran out of ice. Karen muttered process. Rick gave the classic line bullies use when it's mostly over. This isn't over. I hauled boxes, small victories, one after another. Laura lined shelves with contact paper that stuck like stubborn beliefs. I hung Dad's hammer over the bench and felt his steadiness sit down inside me like a friend. At sunset, the porch light flickered once, then held. Coffee. Flag whispering overhead. A pickup rolled by and honked twice hello, not warning. Somewhere, a baseball game on a radio 3 houses down. Ordinary America, exactly what tiny tyrants hate, because it reminds them they're not kings. Just neighbors still here? Dad, I said to the sky, still here? I figured that might be the end of it. Bullies don't retire, they regroup. A week later, a packet landed in my mailbox thick enough to choke it. Finds unapproved occupancy, non-compliant gravel, porch swing variance, flagpole height discrepancy. Total due, $2,750, accruing daily. Glossy photos of my truck, like it had done time. Laura set down her cup. We can fight this, Tom. Not a question. I promise. We will, I said, and we gotta work. 2 nights at the table, reading every shall and hereby until the words stopped being intimidating and started being ridiculous. I highlighted clauses that overstepped state statute or bylaws written by someone who thought authority was a personality trait. I logged dates times the sheriff's incident number from the 911 call. Neighbors offered statements. Mr. Hughes penned his in shaky cursive. Mrs. Alvarez wrote like a church admonition, gentle but thunder. Rachel suggested a path, mediation, then court if needed. Don't take their bait, she said. Bullies love a scene. Give them silence and paperwork. At mediation, the HOA sat on one side, me and Laura on the other. Rick in a golf shirt, Karen with a file stuffed like Thanksgiving. Their young lawyer spoke in clauses. I kept my voice low and steady. I own the home. Here's the deed. I complied with county law. Your covenants cannot obstruct occupancy transfer under state statute. Section 12 to 405. I slid copies across. You called 911 and misrepresented me as a squatter. The sheriff confirmed no crime. You set up a road obstruction. You photographed from the curb legal but attempted entry illegal. You fined me for violations not defined in your own covenants, including unapproved occupancy, which doesn't exist. I tapped their own rules. Porch swings are temporary decorative items. Max flagpole height is 20 feet. Mine's 18. The mediator patient twin mom energy looked to their side. Response? Rick puffed. We maintain standards. Without a line, values slip. Next thing you know, chickens in the front yard. From the observer's row, Mrs. Alvarez lifted a hand. Joe sold tomatoes on that porch every summer. Gave them to widows for free? Property values didn't suffer. The lawyer cleared his throat. We'll reduce fines if Mr. Dawson submits our occupancy questionnaire and applies for a gravel variance. Slid another packet across. Your questionnaire asks income, employment, number of overnight guests, beyond scope, and invasive. You get my mailing address and an emergency contact, nothing more. I laid down a photo of Dad and me, grease on our hands, smiling like we'd fixed something no one else could. As for the gravel, your own rules allow it, so long as it's maintained. It is the porch swing is grandfathered. It's been there longer than your association. Karen's voice went tight. We can still fine you. You can try, I said. I'll challenge every one in small claims with dates, documents, statutes, and ask for fees. Or we can be neighbors. Your call. A silence sat down between us. The mediator turned her pen. Given the county's position and the statutory limits, I recommend the HOA rescind fines related to occupancy, porch swing, and flagpole, and update covenants to align with state law. Mr. Dawson will maintain the driveway per existing standard already demonstrated, their lawyer sighed. We'll rescind those fines and conduct a rule review. He nudged one remaining request. Edge the gravel to prevent runoff. I nodded. Plan to. Dad taught me to finish a job, we signed. Shook hands, mine firm, theirs limp. Neighbors clapped soft, relieved. Outside, Rachel smiled. Quiet justice, she said. Best kind. Doesn't feel flashy, I admitted. It's not supposed to, she said. It's supposed to last. That evening I edged the gravel neat as a haircut and swept the walk. Laura brought lemonade to the porch. The light went gold, then honey, then that color you can't name but always recognize. The flag hung easy. The swing creaked like an old friend telling a familiar joke. Mr. Hughes settled onto the top step. Proud of you, son. Your daddy would be too. I hope so, I said, and felt the knot inside finally loosen, like a rope giving when the load reaches the top. Across the street, Karen carried papers to her car. She looked over not like a hawk anymore, more like a person who'd found the edge of her fence. She half raised a hand, then kept walking. Maybe that's the most we'd get. Maybe that's enough, kids rode bikes. Sprinklers ticked. Someone 2 doors down flipped burgers. Ordinary America. Property values measured in more than dollars casseroles when you're sick, borrowed tools returned clean. Away from a porch where a man sits beneath a flag with a story in his bones. Here's what I learned. Sometimes standing up for what's right means standing still. Paper scares you till you read it. Rules push until you push back. And a house isn't wood and nails its memory with a roof. If you've fought to keep what your family built, I see you. We're neighbors, Ivan, if 1,000 miles of highway runs between our porches. Have you dealt with an HOA like this? Tell me in the comments. I read every one. If you believe some fights are worth having, hit subscribe. We'll drink our coffee on these steps together and stand quietly, steadily, all the way against anyone who forgets what a home really means.